Hello, I'm so glad you joined us tonight. Our topic tonight is when mommy is a narcissist. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Laura Beth, also known as DelusionDispeller. I am best known on YouTube for talking about narcissism and for helping people get out of or cope with narcissistic relationships. For those of you who are here, go ahead and hit the like, hearts, thumbs up, or the wow button and share this broadcast to your page. And hey, while you're at it, why not tag a friend that you think will be interested in watching this? Also, please leave me a comment of where you're watching from so I can get to know all of you. I am so grateful for this opportunity. I'm excited about the information I have to share. Unfortunately, it's sad information, it's disturbing information, but I definitely want you to know about it. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up right now, and I will get right into it. Can't wait to see everybody. Alrighty. One moment while I bring up my notes here. Okay, were you raised in a home where it seemed that you almost all had to raise your own mother? Like you were the mother and she was the child. You were the parent, the adult, and she was the infant or the child. Did your mom tend to upstage you and steal any praise that you got for things that you did well and the talents that you had? Did your mom expect you to cater to her and always know what she wanted, even without her telling you? Let's go over these one at a time. If you were raised in a home where you almost had to be the adult and your parent, or your mom, as we're talking about in this case, was the child, it's pretty confusing to you. Because as a child, you need to be a child. You need to have the right to just relax, be a kid, have fun, and enjoy things. So if you were in this position, then you obviously know how disconcerting and upsetting this is. And this is typical of a woman with narcissistic personality disorder. They do not know how to be mature adults and mature parents. I've next told you about the mom who upstages you and steals any praise that you got for the things that you did well and talents that you had. Maybe it was after a performance that you had and somebody came up to you and said, you know what, that was just excellent. It is like so cool to see you up there. I love your costume. And oh my gosh, your voice. You're just such a great singer. And pretty soon your narcissistic mother barges in and says, I taught her everything she knows. Of course she was great. You know, why she wouldn't be anything else other than great. And you're sitting there thinking, well, wait a minute, this is my performance. What did this have to do with you? And she makes everything about her, because that is typical of narcissistic parents and moms. Did your mom expect you to cater to her and always know what she wanted without her even telling you? Again, very typical of narcissistic moms. Give me one moment. I don't usually do this, and I probably won't when my husband is here, but I have a cat that is out in the sweltering heat, and I will not leave her out there in the heat. So one moment. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Those of you that know me know that I have cats. And my cats are important to me. I don't want them to get into trouble or be hurt or sweating in the heat. All right, that's better because it's really hot here. And I couldn't turn the air conditioners on full blast because I definitely did not want to not be heard today because this is important information. So let's continue now that I let the cat free. Thanks for your patience in that, by the way. Life is definitely happening here. Did your mom compare you to your siblings or somebody else constantly, like your cousin?
I should be thanking you.
What on earth? Hey guys, I'm sorry for the interruption, but this is a new little gizmo gadget that my husband bought me for Mother's Day. He definitely is not a narcissist, but it's talking to me for some odd reason, and it just told me that it is I who should be thanking you. All right, we're going to just set this aside. Man, all these distractions. I guess that is what it is like when life is happening around you, and you're not in a narcissistic household. Because, for instance, if you were in one, none of this would be happening because the narcissistic mom would be giving you that glare that I've showed everybody, like over the glasses glare. Yeah. And that's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's not pretty. Now, my kitty cat wants to be in on the action here, but I can't let him step on my computer. All right. So we're talking about you having to cater to the adult, you having to cater to the mom. Yeah, Siri was talking, exactly. That's a whole new thing to me. So if you were the type of person that, as a child, you didn't hardly understand where your boundaries were, let alone where an adult's boundaries were, and you were expected to always second guess your mom and know what she needed before she even asked you. In fact, she demanded that of you. She expected that of you. She would expect you to get her coffee and put just the right amount of sugar or cream in it. And if you made a mistake, you either got beat or sent away or shamed in some way. And that's not healthy and that's not right, as you know. But that is typical of a narcissistic mom, of course. The next thing, were you always expected to perform when you were in public? Did you always feel like you could never show a weakness or a defect in your personality? You always had to make mom look good, or dad, if it is a narcissistic dad. But you knew you always had to make them look good, or else there was heck to pay if you didn't. Again, very typical of a narcissist. They have to let that false self shine. And the way they do that is through you, their mirror. Because they don't feel real secure and happy with themselves deep down inside, even though you might think that they're pompous and stuck up and so sure of themselves, they're really not. Deep down inside, they are extremely insecure people. And they don't want you to peel their mask off, by the way. That's another thing with the insecurity. Yeah, they don't want you to know what's underneath. So they keep it well hidden. And if you dare to try to get too close, they don't like that too much. And they will definitely retaliate. All right. So if you have a mom that does that to you, it's very, very upsetting. Do you or your mom remind you of, or I'm sorry, does or did, sorry about that, I can't read my own notes. Did or does your mother constantly remind you of all the wonderful things she has done for you? Like, okay, moms are supposed to be good to us. They're supposed to do nice things for us. I mean, it's a mom thing, you know. Moms are supposed to want to make their kids happy and, you know, do nice things, nurture them, play with them, spend time with them. But a narcissistic mother, or an egg donor as I call them, will make you feel almost guilty for expecting even the basic necessities that a child needs. Or to have a few wants on the side. You know, how dare you want that ice cream cone? What's the matter with you? You just ate, you know. Well, it's dessert time, so I'm a kid and I want ice cream. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But to a narcissistic mom, that is like a big crime, expecting dessert. You know, it's always this feeling of, how dare you? How dare you expect me to feed you? Even basic dinner, for that matter. Um, so basically, no matter what they do, they're going to rub your nose in it. They're going to drag it up to you again. Well, remember when I did this for you? You were so ungrateful. Even if you were grateful, you're never grateful enough. And I think that is the key to narcissistic personality disorder, is that if you're raised by a mom that has this, or you're around somebody that has this, you always feel like you haven't quite attained. You're never good enough. You've never done enough. You've never said enough. And you've never said the right things. So even like changing a baby's diaper, a narcissist can't be, you know, put out to do that, because that's something that, what's the matter with this child? Why are they screaming? Well, did you check their diaper? Did you feed them? Oh, they don't need that. I just did that like an hour ago. They should be fine. Well, babies soil their diaper regularly. It's not like a one-time occurrence. But a narcissist does not have that attachment and that connection, like I talked about on last time's show. They don't have that connection with the child, that they know what the kid's needs are. If you've seen a really good mother, then you've seen a mother that can attach and connect with that child and understand that when the child is crying, they know exactly what that cry is for. A narcissistic mother does not get that. There is no real attachment. That child is there to be objectified and to make her look good and make her feel good and meet her needs. That child is not allowed to be a child. And how dare that baby cry because it's embarrassing me type of attitude. And does she ever say something, the narcissistic mother, or has she ever said this? You should be glad I even let you live. You should be glad I even let you have a house to be in. They literally will say tactless, mean things like that. and not care, and they mean it because they're just those types of people, sadly. Oh, here's another one. No matter how good you did, she always told you how she did better. No matter what it was. Oh, well, I went and I took cookies over to Mrs. Smith. Well, when I was young, I had the whole neighborhood at a party on the block, and I provided brownies for them, and we had a party with balloons, and I arranged the whole thing. And you're sitting there feeling like, gee, I only brought some cookies to the neighbor. So she upstages you. She makes you feel belittled, like what you did was never good enough, and it never measured or compared to what she does, ever. So that is part of narcissism, especially a narcissistic mother. They always have to be better than the child, no matter what. If you are a talented singer or dancer, or if you are really good at your nursing job, the mother always has to tell you how she did better. Always. You can say, well, I helped this patient today. He was really sad because he lost his mother-in-law, and he was really grieving over it. So I just sat with him, and I read him stories, and, I read him the paper. He likes the newspaper, so I spent time with him, and I felt really good about myself. And the narcissistic mother will chime in, huh, that's nothing. I spent like weeks and weeks with your Aunt Myrtle when she went into the hospital. I went there and painted her toenails, and I spent hours with her, and man, could that lady complain. But I braved it all. I sat there like the good person that I was, the good niece, and I'm sure that she really appreciated it because, after all, who else would be bothered with her? They say nasty things like that to make themselves seem so puffed up, and you seem so little and so small, and your act of kindness was so insignificant compared to theirs. All right. Let's see. You feel like no matter what you do to please your mother, it's never enough, or it has never been enough. And when you ask her, what am I doing wrong, Mom? I'm doing everything I know to make you happy. She can't exactly tell you. You know why the narcissist can't tell you where you fall short? Because, number one, you probably aren't falling short. And number two, they honestly don't know what they want. So the plans and the schemes and the rules change with a narcissist from moment to moment. One moment they think they want to go here and do this thing. The next moment, I don't know what you're talking about. I never said I wanted to do that. It's almost like they're multi-personality people. And a lot of them really do seem like they have multiple personalities. So you're not quite sure which one you're getting from moment to moment. The narcissistic mom may be down playing on the floor with her kid one minute and slapping them the next for no good reason. Just because, I don't know, maybe they stacked the brick the wrong way and the narcissist didn't like it. So this kid is worthy of a beating. I mean, it makes no sense. And they don't make sense. Somebody told me recently, I just don't understand why the narcissist is acting like this. And I basically said, because they're a narcissist. So don't be surprised when a narcissist acts like a narcissist. That is what they do best. Or worse in this case, because they're not the nicest people to deal with, for sure. All right. They just know that something is missing, something was done wrong, something upset them, something offended them, and therefore, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. How dare you make me look bad like that? What is wrong with you? Why would you do such a thing? You're in public. Everybody's looking at us now. That type of thing. Hey, welcome, Caitlin. Welcome to the room. All right, so it's just basically this constant, endless guilt trip ad nauseum with the narcissistic mother. I will be right back. I got one more kitty cat to let in so it can breathe out of this heat. Be right there. Meech. Come on, Meech. Come on. All right, I'm here. Sorry about that, guys. But you all know I have kitty cats, and you know I love my kitty cats. And actually, most of you like my kitty cats, too. So here's Michi. All right. Okay, back to what we were talking about. So, it's kind of this attitude that no matter what you do, you should feel really, really bad about it. Even if you do something good, it's not good enough. and it will never be good enough. So you should just feel ashamed of yourself. You didn't do that right. You didn't do that like I taught you. You didn't do that like you should have done it. So you always feel like you're grasping at this carrot that's dangling in front of your face, but you can't quite reach it. It's very, very upsetting. Here's another thing. If you get sick, does your mother suddenly have to complain about having an even worse sickness? You wake up with a headache in the morning. You're a child. Mommy, I don't feel like going to school. I have a headache. A little headache? Oh, come on. How bad can that be? You can still go to school. But Mommy, my head really hurts. I feel like I need to take an aspirin or go to the doctor or something. You don't need a doctor. Are you kidding me? I had a headache in first grade, and I broke my leg, and I was laid up for 3 months, and I still found a way to go to school. I had crutches, so I just went on crutches. My mom made me go. And remember that if this is a narcissistic mother, chances are very good she had a narcissistic mother or parent that forced their agenda on her. So they may be very right about having to be forced into going to school, even when they were pretty much crippled up and had to hobble in there on crutches. So they're not telling you a lie there totally, but what they are doing is imposing the same heavy-handed attitude on you that was done to them. Because indeed, that is what narcissistic parents often do. They turn you into the naughty child, or they can also turn you into the narcissistic parent, and they are the child that feels like they're scolded. They like to flip-flop things around. They like to change history. They do all kinds of weird, crazy-making things that make you feel so unstable. All right, so your mom is one-upping you on the illness, and you're sitting there thinking, I'm really, really sick. I really have a headache. I really want to not go to school today. I just don't feel good. But the mother doesn't care because all eyes should be on her at all times and her illnesses. All right. So, does your mom suddenly get upset and ignore you sometimes for days and days? I don't know why she might get upset, but she just decides one day, as the narcissist that she is going to be grumpy and upset today, and she's not going to smother you with kindness, which usually is a manipulation tool. Today, she's going to hate you. She's going to tell you that you ruined her life, and she wishes you were never born, and you ungrateful little snobbish brat, why don't you ever appreciate anything I do for you? So she just suddenly out of the blue decides she's upset today, and sometimes she wakes up and ignores you. She gives you the silent treatment, where she doesn't talk to you at all. She doesn't even acknowledge that you are around in the room, or that you have any needs or wants, or that you exist. And believe me, I've had the silent treatment. It is probably one of the most painful ways of abuse there are. And it is indeed abuse, let me tell you. It's pretty awful. All right. Is your mom somebody that anytime she is guilty of something, anytime she has a flaw, it's always somebody else's fault? Always. Well, if you would have done this, I wouldn't have done that. Well, if they would have moved out of the way, I wouldn't have gone and punched them. I mean, they just can't take responsibility for their actions. It's always somebody else's fault. Always. A narcissist is never to be blamed. I always say it's like they're allergic to blame, and even perceived blame, if they think that because you question something they do. I don't get why you said that. That seemed kind of mean. What? Are you questioning me? How dare you, you little brat? I mean, you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm just trying to understand what you're talking about. And to the narcissist, you just gave them something called a narcissist attack. And they will react in narcissistic rage, which could include anything from yelling, screaming, putting you down, putting your friends down, telling you you're a loser, and even like smashing windows, throwing your things, breaking your toys, stealing your money, whatever. And they can get pretty violent, some of them. Some of them actually are borderline sociopaths. It just depends on the person. Not everybody is the same, of course. But there's definitely a rage reaction from a narcissistic mother when you don't do her bidding, or you do something in a way that she doesn't think is good. All right. Do you feel ugly, stupid, helpless, or less than in the presence of this woman? Do you also tend to blame yourself for everything that goes wrong in your life? Do you see yourself as the guilty one every time? Well, hi Michelle. Good to see you. Well, every time that something goes wrong and you blame yourself, you can pretty much count on the idea that you have internalized what the narcissistic mom did to you. So you're thinking now, well, mom always blamed me, so it must be my fault. When you're a child, you're so young and your brain isn't even developed yet, so you internalize what's done to you. You internalize the messages that you're given by your parent. Your parent is almost like a god to you because as a child, you don't know anything else but this person that's in front of you, this person that feeds you and takes care of you and helps you do what you need to do. So when they tell you you're ugly, or I wish you were never born, or you're a waste of skin, or whatever mean, nasty, tactless thing they say, you believe it after a while, especially because they don't say it just once. They will say it and say it and say it till it's firmly implanted in your head and unfortunately in your heart a lot of times. On to the next thing. Did your mom, or does your mom, play the martyr or the victim or the hero? Does she like flip-flop from one to the other? Does she go, well, nobody gets me. I'm so misunderstood. Nobody understands what I'm doing. Everybody thinks I'm this bad person, but I'm just doing things for their own good. And really, they're meddling. They're not really doing things for anybody's good, but their own entertainment, since they see people as objects. Or they may play the victim. Well, I said the victim and the martyr. That's almost the same thing, I guess. But the martyr kind of believes that their only reason on the earth is for everybody to bully and beat up on. I have no purpose but to be the housewife the rest of my life. I'm never going to have anything for me. There's nothing in it for me. And everything needs to be for them because that's what they're in everything for. They may be the hero. Well, I took you when you were just a baby and I rescued you and I took you as my own and adopted you and I gave you everything you have, and if it wasn't for me, you would have nothing. So you need to be grateful. But you never are. All you do is complain, 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 and you may not even be complaining. But they put stuff on you that they do. They're the complainers. They're complaining about you complaining, but you're not the one complaining. Do they make you feel guilty for having any needs or wants of your own? Well, a child has needs and wants. You should have needs and wants. And you shouldn't have to feel guilty about it because you need to have things done for you. You're a child. But for a narcissistic mother, they resent the child for having needs and wants, like we talked about earlier. Here's a big one. Does your mother use crocodile tears to manipulate a response out of you? Do you see them? I'll give you a prime example. If you ever watch Dr. Phil, there are a lot of narcissistic moms on there. They will sit there and talk about how I didn't know she was going to do that. I just didn't realize it. And there will not be a tear in her eye. And you'll be sitting there thinking, faker, what a phony. We can tell that you don't mean anything you're even saying right now. You're not hurt over that. You're not upset over what happened to your daughter. You're about yourself. Those are called crocodile tears. And I forget the story of why crocodile tears happen. Maybe somebody can post that or something. Because it's something to do with an actual crocodile. That's where the term came from. I think it's something about a manipulation where the croc tries to dupe you into coming closer or something, and then they snap on you. I don't know. What a narcissist is a lot like a crocodile, definitely. Or a snake, either one. Does your mom ignore your boundaries and instead act like you're mistreating her? When you tell her, I don't really want to talk right now, I just need some time by myself in my room, does she sit there and pound on the door and say, let me in, I want to come in the room? And you're like, geez, Mom, I just want some alone time. What is your deal? You just don't love me. That's what your problem is. You just don't love me and appreciate me. You just want to reject me. And you're like, dear Lord, no, I don't. I just want some time alone by myself to, sit and watch some TV and not have to deal with all your mood swings and all that stuff. But she acts like she is just the mistreated, misjudged, misunderstood person as usual. And, you just don't appreciate her. You don't honor her. And you're going to go to hell because you don't honor her. They like to throw the Bible thing around too, by the way. A lot of narcissists are what I call hyper-spiritualists. They like to use the Bible verses to condemn you and make you feel 2 inches tall. It suits their purpose. Does your mom get online and smear you all over the place? With the invention of the lovely internet, which is a mixed blessing and a curse, depending on how you look at it, there is easy access for narcissistic mothers or narcissists in general to post their beautiful selfies all over the page and brag about how wonderful they are as parents, when if you know them up close and personal, you're like, what? You aren't even close to being a wonderful parent. I don't know why you're posting all that stuff. And then the next thing they post is, bad kid. My daughter doesn't appreciate me. My daughter is terrible and selfish and evil and whatever. Or my son, not just daughters. My son didn't take care of his mama. He left home for the army. He's neglecting me. Everybody else's needs are more important than mine. Well, yeah, safety of the country might be a little bit more important than your needs at the moment, especially if we're in a war. But narcissists don't care because it's all about their little false self and their jilted image that they want to portray to everybody. So they make you look like you are the abuser and you don't take care of her needs and you just aren't there for her and you ignore her and all the things that they basically do to you, they portray as you doing to them. Does your mom tend to recreate history and situations? Does she retell things with her slant on things? And by the way, if you don't have a narcissistic mom, that's fine. Maybe you have an aunt that's narcissistic, or a grandmother, or a cousin, or a sibling, or a little kid that acts narcissistic. Now, they don't usually diagnose children because their brains are still forming, but honestly, I can tell you certain children seem to have almost a bent towards being very false self-absorbed, usually because of neglect, abuse, or being the golden child of the family. So it is possible. Anyways, so when she retells her situations with her slant on things, you come out kind of looking like a demon to the point where you're almost questioning yourself. Did I do this? Did I say that? Am I really this bad person that they're saying I am? Could it be? Could I really be this terrible, horrible, evil person she paints me as? Chances are probably not. It's just her stripping your identity and trying to recreate your identity to paint you as the bad guy. So nobody looks at her and points a finger because, as I said, narcissists are allergic to blame. Okay, does your mother parade you around in public to make herself look like Mother of the Year, but in private abuses you, neglects you, mistreats you, or even sometimes in public gives you that look like you better not cross me? That's a narcissist, or a narcissistic trait anyways. When they portray themselves and the situation one way in public and a different way in private, or sometimes they flip-flop in private with you. Like I told you, they may be sweet and wonderful one minute and vicious and nasty the next. Narcissism, a lot of times, narcissism. Okay, here's another. If your mother's obsessed with looking young, being shapely and thin, getting plastic surgery, fears getting old, unable to do things because that doesn't look right and fit in with her persona of herself and what she wants to portray to the world, probably a narcissist. That's called a somatic narcissist, soma meaning the body. They're obsessed with their image. They're obsessed with looking good. They treat every wrinkle, every crease in their lips, everything because, oh, I can't go out looking like that. What would people think? You hear a lot of this in Hollywood. It's very common in Hollywood. So they're trying to portray themselves falsely because they want their false image to look good, and that's what they want you to adore and sing the praises of. Do you notice your mom doing the very things that she tells you not to do? Kind of like a don't do as I do, do as I say, because I'm the mom and I can do what I want, but you're the child and you have to do my bidding. When you confront her and you point this out, she justifies things. Well, of course. I mean, I'm the mother after all, and you owe me. Because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that bed you're sleeping in. You wouldn't have those clothes on your back. How dare you even question how I portray myself, or how I think of myself, or if I want to go and get my nails did, or whatever. it's just, it's wrong. It's so wrong. Because it's not don't do as I do and do as I say. It's I'm supposed to be the example to you who is still learning how to be this adult one day. I'm not supposed to look better than you just because I need to have the looks in public and have the great image. I'm supposed to be teaching you how to be a humble, moral, submitted, decent person because you trust me, because I create that trust in you, and because you know that I won't steer you wrong purposely ever. Not I'm trying to lord it over you and use you to make me look good, because that is what a narcissistic egg donor does. Do you feel used as a slave, a puppet, maybe even a sex object? Yes, many narcissists are child molesters, because once you objectify somebody, you see nothing wrong with using their body, their mind, their skills as your own. Because after all, I birthed this child, so I can use them how I want to. They're here for me, for my usage. And when I'm done with them, I can treat them how I want. Sad, very true and sad of a narcissist. If you've ever seen the movie Precious, I would say that mother was definitely a narcissist, if not a sociopath. And if you haven't seen it, you might want to at least watch the previews of it. It'll kind of give you the gist. I haven't watched the whole movie. I'm not sure I could stomach it, because I cannot stand seeing people abused in any way, shape, or form. Does your mother claim that her smacking you is to teach you how to handle being in the world? I'm teaching you a lesson. Because when you get out there, people are going to beat you up. And it's better you get the beating now so you understand what it's all about. I actually knew a woman who, as a child, her father would go in and beat her every morning, just in case she did something wrong. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that kind of stuff goes on all the time in this world. It's really sad. All right. Do you find your mom not letting you make choices about preferences, thus telling you what you like and you don't like? No, you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to climb that tree. No, you don't want chocolate ice cream. You don't like chocolate ice cream. Oh, I know you won't want to eat this because you hate that. And you're like, no, I don't. You hate that. I like spinach. You hate spinach. That's not me. Oh, no, you're mistaken. You don't know what you like. That's up to me to tell you that. So I'll tell you, you don't like spinach and you won't like spinach. And you're like, okay, I don't like spinach. And then you grow up to not know what on earth you even like or don't like. Because you weren't allowed to choose that. You weren't allowed to figure out for yourself what your favorite anything was, or what you enjoyed to do, or who you enjoyed being with. Because narcissistic egg donor mom wasn't letting you. She was going to form you into her perfect little robot that she wanted. I told you a story on one of the videos, and I'll briefly tell it here. I was running a restaurant. My first husband and I had a restaurant for about 9 months, and a grandmother came up, and she ordered an ice cream cone for the granddaughter. And she said, Grandma, I want chocolate. And she's like, well, you don't really want chocolate. She's like, yeah, I want chocolate. She said, no, you don't. You don't want it. You don't like chocolate. Said, yes, I do. And she was like screaming and having a temper tantrum. She looks at me and says, she'll have vanilla. And I said, it's no problem. We have plenty of chocolate. No, she'll have vanilla. And the granddaughter's screaming by this time, Grandma, I told you I want chocolate. She turns to her and says, they're all out of chocolate. I was like, really? Are you kidding me right now? I was about to hop over the counter and clock that woman. Lose my Christian dignity all over the place. Seriously. I cannot stand hearing an adult tell a child what they want or they don't want. It is the child's right to decide that, not yours. They have a mind of their own. Hopefully, you are raising them to be individuals and adults. Oh, wait. Narcissistic moms don't let their children individuate. At a certain point in a child's life, they learn to let go of mommy. Now, from the time they're babies and toddlers, they're learning to depend on mommy. They can't feed themselves. They can't change their own diapers. But then at a certain point, that baby's going to stand up on their feet and proudly proclaim it. Whether they shout or they just go, ee, or they go like my one daughter did, they're just all proud of themselves for standing. A narcissistic mom will knock the kid over, literally, just push her down. Don't stand up, you'll hurt yourself. Don't stand up, you'll wreck your legs. You're too young to be doing that. Literally, I've actually seen this, seriously, and it's pathetic and very upsetting and definitely abusive. Narcissistic mothers do not want the child to individuate. They will do anything they can to prevent that from happening. Because as you're getting older, they're getting older. And one thing narcissistic mothers do not like is aging. Nor do they like the idea that their child will one day leave them. Because all of that control they have over them, that narcissistic supply they're getting from them, yeah, that's gone as soon as that baby grows up into a child and then an adult. So, another thing, does your mom make you give up things that you enjoy to your siblings or someone else without even asking you? They'll just take your favorite doll. They'll take your toy. And the next thing you know, Susie Q has it over here, and you're like, wait a minute, that was mine. Well, you're too old for that. You don't need that anymore. I had that done to me, actually. I had a riding horse, a rocking horse. I would have ridden that thing probably now. I love that thing. It was fun. It was a bouncy rocking horse, jumping horse on springs. And I loved it. I would sit out there for hours and hours and rock on it and just daydream and whatever. Next thing I know, my sister's born. The rocking horse is gone. What happened to my rocking horse? Oh, well, you're too old for it. We gave it to your sister. Okay, maybe I wanted it. You don't need that. You're old enough to have a real horse. You don't need a rocking horse. You know, but let me decide that. It was my toy, not yours to give away to somebody. That's not fair. Not saying that was a narcissist that did it, but I'm just saying narcissists do that a lot. I read a story once about the Rockefellers, I think it was. I don't know, it was a very rich family, but I think it was the Rockefellers. And they would make their children every Christmas, they would buy them toys, and they would wrap them up, and before Christmas morning ever came, they forced them to give them up. They never were allowed to have toys. They told them, well, you don't need them. Somebody else needs these more than you do. Like every single year. I understand, you know, teaching children to be givers. I get that. But they were not allowed to ever have their own toys. And by the way, the narcissistic parent bought the child exactly what they wanted, and they had to give it up. So what does that teach a child as an adult? That teaches them, don't ever hold dear to anything because it's going to be yanked from you. Don't ever think that you deserve something because you don't. Somebody else deserves it more than you do. A lot of times you'll see adults constantly apologizing anytime something good happens to them, or they can't accept a compliment. They don't know how to accept a compliment because deep down inside they feel unworthy of that. That kind of behavior is created from this kind of garbage. Ugh. And the reason why this narcissistic mother did this was she thought that she was teaching those children to grow up faster. They weren't allowed to be kids. And in a narcissistic household, very, very common that the child is not allowed to be a child. I knew a narcissistic person that had a couple children, and I went to visit this person. And that was the one thing I noticed. Her kids had no toys. And I mean, they were young enough that they should have had, I don't know, the boy could have had like a microscope or something to play with, you know, to learn things, some books to read. They had nothing, nothing at all. In fact, he and I tossed around a paper balloon back and forth for hours at a time. They had no toys. The daughter had no toys. Nothing. I couldn't believe it. But that is very true of a lot of narcissists. They don't allow children to be children because they want them to grow up super fast. In fact, they take them to like adult things a lot of times that are way over their heads and expect them to sit there. Do you find your mother breaking up your friendships and relationships, taking your belongings away and keeping them for herself? I knew a narcissist, this wasn't a woman, but women do it too, who actually took my daughter's items, and when I confronted him, he said, she doesn't need them, she has other ones. And I was like, yeah, but those were her items, they were not yours to take. Well, she won't miss them. Who reasons like that? Only a narcissist. Or they'll say, well, I can use them better than they do. They were just sitting around not being used, so I'll use them. Okay, well, maybe you will, but it's not your position to go taking things from a child. There's no call for that. Again, that teaches a child that nothing you have is ever going to be yours. Nothing is ever safe because you're going to have to give it up and you're going to have to do so willingly. What a cruel thing to do to a child, but narcissistic mothers and parents and people do that. Does your mother make you give her your money? Even after she spends hers, she's after yours. She wants yours now because she spent hers. Again, not her place to take your money. Not her place to tell you how to spend your money. She can give you suggestions, but they don't do that. They don't give you suggestions. They guilt you into doing what they want you to do. You stupid fool, why did you spend your money on that? I told you to get such and such. They have to control everything and manipulate you into doing what they want you to do. All right. Does your mom become enraged if you dare to disagree or question her? We talked a little bit about this earlier in this session. How dare you speak back to me? How dare you raise your voice to me? How dare you question me? I know what I'm doing. You're the child. I'm the adult. How dare you? And you learn as an adult, don't question anybody. Don't ask questions if you don't understand. Just sit there and not know what on earth is going on, but it's okay because you don't need to know because you're not worthy of knowing what's happening. You just sit there and kind of take it all in and figure it out on your own. Ugh, terrible. Does your mom provoke you to anger, jealousy, and then mock you after you're upset and angry? Do they buy things that they knew you wanted and dangle them in front of your face? And then mock you when you get upset? Do they make a spectacle of you? Make you embarrassed in public? Make you feel bad about how you're dressed or what you look like or how you said something? Do they mock you if you have a lisp? Do they mock you if you don't talk exactly like they think you should? Do they mock you for being quiet and shy? And do they punish you when you get upset for them mocking you and putting you down? Again, what does this teach an adult? It teaches them that they have to bottle their feelings, that everybody has a right to treat them however they want, and they need to just go along with it. This causes an adult to attract people like this that are abusers and to stay with them while they're being abused, thinking that that's all they deserve and they deserve nothing better. Is your parent a sideline coach? This is something I haven't covered yet. Have you ever seen those parents that have to tell the coach how to coach the team or the dancing teacher how to instruct the dancers when that parent has no clue, but that dancing teacher went to school to learn how to do that? Well, the narcissist is going to jump up and say, "You're not doing that right. Honey, turn around. You need to plie right there. Oh, she needs to do a changement here." Or the narcissistic dad, "You don't know what you're doing. You called that wrong. My son was safe," in the middle of a game. I mean, no tact whatsoever. They just feel it's their place to speak out and do whatever they want, whenever they want, to whomever they want. And if the coach gets mad and confronts the parent, then they become incensed. "Well, it is my child, and after all, I wouldn't even let you have my child for this team if I didn't think that he was being treated the right way, and you're not calling these games right. My son's being slighted," and I mean, it's just, and their child never does any wrong either, even if they do wrong. And I'm talking about the golden child here, not the scapegoat child. Because the scapegoated child, they're always the one to blame. In fact, if there's a home and there's more than one child in a narcissistic family, there's always the scapegoat and the golden child. The golden child is the one that gets paraded around and has to always look perfect and gets all the nice jewelry, all the nice clothes, gets to be on every team. And the scapegoated one is the one that gets locked in the cellar, beaten. Sometimes the scapegoat has to take the beatings for the golden child. And that creates a whole other set of adult problems, believe me. Okay, so anyways, so that's another thing they do. They try to play coach or dancing teacher or ruler or leader or whatever, and they're out of place. There's no reason. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice. So yeah, so that's just some of the traits of the narcissistic mom. And you can imagine that if this stuff is going on, it's going to influence somebody in their adulthood. It's going to make them feel unworthy. and like they don't deserve anything, and that they shouldn't even expect to have anything nice in their life because mom is the only one that matters, dad's the only one that matters, narcissist is all that matters. Anyways, I'm going to open up the floor for some Q&A here, and I welcome you to comment. I see Shawnee said that she took her brother's punishment very often. That's really sad. I'm really sorry to hear that. I never took my brother's punishment, but I definitely was told, well, you're the oldest, you should know better. And I'm not saying I was raised by narcissists, although my stepdad probably could have been considered one. He definitely was paranoid schizophrenic, which has another whole set of problems compared to the narcissism thing. But anyways, does anybody have anything they want to comment on or question me on? I am open to questions for the next few minutes. And I definitely can see the chat board. I saw a couple people come in, but all right. Well, so we were talking about when mommy was a narcissist. And mommy being a narcissist to a child when they are little affects them as they get older as well. A lot of times there's an unhealthy attachment to the parent, and the parent doesn't let go even after the child becomes an adult. So these are the people that end up in relationships, dating, marriage, whatever, and they can't manage without the mother because the mother did everything for them. And they run to mommy for all the answers. It could be a mommy's boy, too. And, Ryan had a question. I guess I missed that one. You'll have to type it into me. But anyways, you see this in adult children of narcissists where their mom always sends them money if they get stuck. They're never made to really fend for themselves because as long as mommy is paying their bills and doing what they need to do for them financially, that child is pretty much stuck there, feeling kind of beholden to that narcissistic parent. And that's not a healthy thing either. And that does cause some relationship problems because the husband or the boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, is probably thinking, my goodness, can we just make decisions on our own? Do you have to always go back to your mother? And why do you constantly run to her for money? Why can't you make your own money? I'm not saying it's not okay for a parent to help out a kid, but even an adult kid. But I'm talking about people that do it obsessively to where that adult can't act like an adult and take adult responsibility. All right. So Ryan had a question. And did you want to tell me what that question is, somebody? Because I did not see it. It went by me so quickly because I was just here yammering on about this information. So I had so much to say and so much I really wanted to share tonight. And I hope it enlightened some people or maybe helped you feel some validation. Definitely. I think a lot of times we go through these narcissistic scenarios and we try to talk to people about them and they think we're exaggerating. They think, oh, Mrs. Smith can't be that bad. I mean, she was on the PTA board, and she was in the knitting clutch or whatever it's called, I don't know. And she was just like the dearest, sweetest little old woman, and she helped anybody. Yeah, because that's their narcissistic persona cover-up that they put on in public. But then in private, Mrs. Smith is beating people with a cane, you know? And yeah, that's real common to have like a two-facedness with a narcissistic parent. There's a lot of really good books out about narcissistic mothers. I'm not sure exactly what they're called. One really good book, it's not specifically about narcissistic mothers, but it's about a borderline mother. And it goes into the different types of borderline moms there are. There's like the witch mother and a couple other ones. And I encourage you to read everything that you can on narcissistic personality, yes, but on borderline personality disorder, because it is kind of a well-known, I guess, a thought, maybe not a fact, but that most narcissists are men. And I don't agree with that necessarily, at least not most in my life weren't men, they were women. And that borderlines were the women. I think that's because women are seen more on an emotional level, and men are seen more in the work world as dominant bosses, businessmen, card carrying, briefcase carrying guys, and women are seen as, the mommies, the ones that stay home and take care of the children. But if a woman is borderline, there's a very fine line between borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder, definitely. And but both are very interesting to study. So I'm going to just check on these comments here and see if I can actually bring them up. So maybe I can answer some. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I see there's quite a few comments, but I'm actually not seeing the comments, and it's kind of odd that I wouldn't be. Anyway, I really would like to answer your comments. So, Shawnee, if you can see the comments, could you type them in for me one at a time so I can answer them or respond to them in some way? Yeah, definitely. Borderline personality next week. So be here. Definitely don't want to miss that one. There's a great movie, not a great movie, but it's pretty scary and gory. It's called Fatal Attraction. That is about somebody with borderline personality disorder. Definitely. Glenn Close plays the, what do they call them? Antagonist, I guess. And she is phenomenal in the part, but it is very gory, so if you can't handle gory stuff, don't watch it. But there's also Girl Interrupted, which was about somebody with borderline personality disorder. Although I will say, I think Girl Interrupted, Angelina Jolie played a part in that. Angelina Jolie's character, to me, acted more like a narcissist than a borderline person. I think Winona Ryder was more the borderline person. Okay, so anyways, I'm just waiting to see some comments because I'm not sure how to view them, but I definitely want to view them because I would like to respond to them. Meanwhile, I'll just talk about some other things. There are really good books on detecting borderline personality disorders, narcissistic personality disorders. Dr. Phil has an excellent one out. I can't recall the name of it right now. I will probably be posting that at some point in the comments as soon as I figure out what it is. I have the book somewhere. But he definitely teaches you the traits to recognize and to look out for on people with disorders so that if you're looking to date somebody, you are checking these out and keeping your guard up. There's one book called Safe People, which is really basic, really basic type stuff. It will teach you also the traits to recognize. And it kind of tells a little bit of stories in there. It's kind of enjoyable to read. It's a short book. It's not hard to read. I do want to mention pardon me, my book that I swear by. A couple of them, actually, maybe 3. I'm a Bible reader. I don't know what you think of the Bible. I think it's got a lot of really good, important things in it that can help guide your life and help give you things to look out for, especially in Proverbs. That's a really good book to help you keep good company and make sure that your friends are good people. Also, a book called The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. I swear by that book. I really do. It's kind of a new agey book, but it's really important daily reading if you want to learn how to objectively look at relationships and people. And so that you don't go around blaming yourself for everything everybody does, because it's not your place to have to be every time somebody acts a certain way. Let people own their actions, let them own their behaviors, and let them be responsible for what they say and do. Another good book is How to Break Your Addiction to a Person. At some point, I'm going to be talking about codependency because I think that would be an excellent topic to cover in these live broadcasts. A codependent person, that term came about from Alcoholics Anonymous, and it was because in an alcoholic's family, there's somebody acting up because they're obviously alcoholic, and everybody around them has to kind of keep the secret and act like nothing's going on. Well, Uncle Charlie came in drunk last night and broke the piano. We don't talk about that. Uncle Charlie just isn't feeling good. He's just having, you know, a bad day. And they brush it under the rug, and then we just don't talk about it anymore. And that's the elephant in the middle of the living room. And codependency came about because there was kind of a dependency on keeping the family secret, I believe. And that was codependent behavior. So they just kind of linked that all together and started calling people codependent when they were these caretakers, their own well-being, to take care of other people. So that's an important topic. There's a lot of really good psychological topics I could cover, and at some point I will do that. Just one moment. I think somebody is trying to notify me of something here. I will be right there for you in a bit. There should be a way I can shrink my screen somehow and see everybody's comments. I'm still getting used to this Facebook Live. I love it. I think it's awesome. But I really would like it to work a little better than it is for me, definitely. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. I can't get to see anybody's comments right at the moment. So let me check one more thing before I conclude here. One second. Please stand by as I figure out what on earth is happening here. Okay, somebody was trying to come into the live broadcast and couldn't make it. And I'm not sure why. We'll work out those glitches, definitely. So, anyway, I guess if Shawnee is agreeable to it, since I'm not seeing anything other than my face at the moment, and I can entertain myself just fine in the mirror doing that, I will conclude for now. Looks like we're almost going on 60 minutes anyways, which is a good time. That's an hour. I do want you to leave your comments still, because I will definitely make a video answering your questions and commenting back to your comments. I always try to do that. I'm not the best at it, but I am working on it. I do care about each and every one of you. I really appreciate those of you that were here tonight. All right, sorry about that. Momentary glitch there. Said it was trying to reconnect. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And before we have any more glitches in the system, I am going to sign off here in a moment. But once again, comment down below or send me an email to DelusionDispeller@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to respond to you. Thank you for your support over the years. I've been here doing this for about, well, since 2009, I believe, officially, I've been helping people that have been abused by narcissists, because that's about when my abuse happened, and I started giving people a voice. What I'm all about, just briefly, let me tell you, I'm about a few things. First of all, I want you to know that if you're in a narcissistic relationship with somebody and you're being abused, you do not have to stay there and put up with it without telling somebody. Tell a safe person that stuff is going on that just is not right. You want out. You don't know how to get out. Or at least you want some coping skills and some support. You want somebody to be there for you, to listen to you, and to walk you through things. And just be your friend. It's important. Okay. I want you to know that, number one, I believe you. If you say you're in abuse and this person's doing all these crazy things, crazy making things, I believe you. Number two, no, you are not crazy. Even the narcissist may be saying that, you are not the one who's crazy. Most likely the narcissist is doing something called projection and putting their blame onto you. And number three, there is hope. There's always hope. Always, always, always. Just tell somebody that's safe, that can work on a plan to get you out of there. And that is why I do what I do. And remember, from now on, no matter what you're going through, keep your eyes wide open and move forward. It's all about moving forward. Because if you're standing still, you're going nowhere. And you deserve better. You deserve way better than to be abused. If you had an abusive mother, I am sorry. My heart goes out to you. And if you're still dealing with abuse, my heart really goes out to you. Please find somebody else to walk through things with you. Anyways, thanks for being here. I'm going to conclude. It's been a good hour. I've enjoyed talking with you. I hope this has been a help to you and some hope for you. God bless you. Eyes wide open, moving forward. Until next time, be blessed.